What is going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back with a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last time around, we were chased down by Rena, and we were beaten up by two men, and then we woke back up in our house with Mion also there with Rena. And they tried to inject us with some sort of drug to prepare us for a director of some kind. But in our moment of rage, we killed both of them. And right now, we are running away from four men who are with this director, quote unquote. And yeah, also, this is pretty much where I'm very close to the end of chapter one. Thanks to your helpful comments, and also with I can turn down the transparency of the text box too, which is much nicer looking than the previous one. So thanks for the comments. It's very helpful. So yeah, just get right to it. The smoking room was filled with a cloud of cigarette smoke. The expensive smoke filter gave up some crackling electrical noise, but didn't seem like it was doing anything at all. Why do smokers have to be shoved so far down this corridor where the sun didn't even reach? I recalled hearing that the tax revenue from tobacco was about a tenth of the multiplicity's revenue. We were the most heavily taxed members of this I've never seen that word before, so I don't know how to say it. Municipality. Sorry for the pronunciation. So I really wish they showed us a little more respect. This is probably,
どうしてこれがウーマン切りなんすか?
It's probably Oshi from our
街が狭くなっちゃうっすよ。
One of the younger detectives was having a staring contest with the Mahjong magazine called Next Turn.
ウーマン切ってもテンパイ崩れませんから、背底にかけるなら両面で受けた方がチャンスあるんじゃないですか?
クマちゃん、川を見てください。ウーマンは全員切ってますから安牌なんですよ。終盤で K 点に走った誰かがダマで待ってたら嫌でしょ。
The kid let out another groan, put out a cigarette, and took out another one.
納得いかないっすね。わざわざ自分で当たり牌減らすなんて。
ちなみに背底で当たり牌出しても論しちゃダメですよ。
え、どうしてですか?
Just then I heard a voice coming from down the hall.
大石さん、いますか?
Yeah, we are from Oshi's.
一般の方から凱旋です。
ありゃ、こりゃどうも。それじゃ、ちょいと失礼。
どうして論しちゃダメなんすか? あ、待ってくださいよ、大石さん!
The man sitting in the seat Oshi-san was heading towards waved at the telephone receiver.
凱旋です。
I'm going to guess this is the narrator then. Never mind.
報酬から。
Oh, this must be a
ああ、どうもすいません。お待たせしました。大石です。もしもし。
大石さんですか。もしもし。
前原さんじゃありませんか。どうもどうも、こんにちは。
From the tone Maobao's-kun's voice, I already knew he was in a predicament. This was the first time Maoba-kun had phoned me, and he was calling from a payphone.
落ち着いてください。何がありました?
His voice was erratic over the line. He had completely lost his sense of composure. After checking that nobody else could hear, I prompted him in a hushed tone.
何があったんです? 落ち着いて前原さん。今そこに近場の警官を行かせます。私もすぐそっちに行きますよ。
多分無理です。
Shit. His voice was quivering and hoarse. He wasn't surrounded by people even as he was making his call, was he?
前原さんは今公衆電話からかけてますよね。どこの公衆電話ですか?
There was no other sounds besides Maoba-kun's voice. It had to be a phone booth. I scratched out a note and forced it at my colleague sitting closer to me. Himizawa phone booth. He understood quickly and hastily restarted on the eternal lines.
落ち着いて前原さん。今どういう状況なんです？
It was best practice to avoid frustrating someone panicking, but this was an urgent case. Marabara-kun didn't just get in trouble, get away, and then call me. He was in the midst of something dangerous right now. But yelling at Marabara-kun right now would just needlessly cause him to be even more frantic. Marabara-kun wasn't just calling to seek help. He was trying to tell us something more than that. And whatever that was, if I didn't get it from this call, I was certain there would never be another chance. My colleague pushed the note in front of me. There's only one booth in Himizawa. A patrol car is on the way. 5 minutes.
かかりすぎです。ケラには何人乗ってます？
2人です。
Not enough. If it was as I imagined, there were likely quite a few people surrounding Marabara-kun. 5 minutes was too long.
南沢の駐在さんには電話しました。
定時巡回の時間です。家人は留守で連絡不能。
Ah, damn.
そう。クマちゃん、車を回してください。
了解っす。
もしもし、おじさん。
Shit, Kachi.
もしもし、大丈夫です。ちゃんと聞こえてますよ。
There was something wrong with Marabara-kun. That wasn't a normal coughing sound. Vomiting? Or was it blood? Had he already been attacked? Was he injured?
前原さん、今そこに警官が向かってます。2、3分で到着しますから何とか持ちこたえてください。もしもし、聞こえてますか？前原さん。
I could hear on the other end of the line that he was having a coughing fit. The worst possible situation popped in my head.
前原さん、犯人は誰です？何人なんです？
俺も最初は人間が犯人なんだと思います。
I couldn't tell that if that was a cough or vomiting.
大丈夫ですか？前原さん。
犯人は人間なんだって。お社様のたたりなんかないんだって、そう思ってました。ついさっきまで。
Right now.
だけどやっぱり。
What? It was an intense bout of coughing, then vomiting.
でもやっぱりお社様ってのは、いや今。
What?
前原さん、どうか落ち着いて。
なんかさっきからおかしいと思ってたんです。ずーっとつけてくるんですよ。走っても走っても走っても走っても影みたいにぴったりくっついて、だけども少しずつ俺の背中ににじり寄ってくるんです。
前原さん、そいつは今ひょっとして前原さんの後ろに？
後ろに、すぐ後ろに。
お願いです前原さん。怖いのはわかります。ですがお願いです。あなたの後ろに誰がいるんです？
振り向けるわけないじゃないですか。振り向いたら俺。
怖いのはわかります。でも教えてほしい。ちょっと振り返るだけでいいんです。
Why can't he turn around?
前原さんの後ろに誰がいるんです？
Right after I said that, I could hear him vomiting intensely. What followed was a nightmarish sound.
前原さん、あんたまさか喉を引っかいてたりはしないでしょうね。
Oh my god. There was no answer, but I could hear something like scratching. There was a bang, as if someone was being hit. Marabara-kun had probably dropped a receiver. I could hear groaning and vomiting over on the other end, and a repeating abnormal noise.
もしもし、もしもし、前原さん、もしもーし。
I knew how far away my voice would sound at the other end, but I couldn't help but shout. At that moment I heard whispering, coming from the other end. I couldn't tell what he was saying. From the way he was saying it, was he talking to himself? Was he talking to someone there?
もしもし、前原さん
Rather than whispering, it was some kind of mantra he was chanting over and over. I focused my senses, trying to pick up what he was saying. What was he repeating? What exactly? Beep. Suddenly, the line went dead. Did he use up his time? It was because it was a payphone. It was because it cut out so abruptly. The last thing he said came out so clearly in my mind.
おいさん、車は OK っす。おいさん。
ごめんなさい。
おいさん。
That's what he was repeating over and over. He said, "I'm sorry." I had a gut feeling. There was no longer a need to hurry. I could hear the chirp of the Higurashi spilling in from the open window. Cree, cree, cree. I should have been able to hear them this entire time. I just wasn't paying any attention. Why did I focus on them all of a sudden? Cree, cree, cree. Were they trying to tell me something? Only the Higurashi knew. That's how I felt. June 1983. In Himazawa, a remote village near Shishiban City, there was a murder involving 2 female students. I was right. I did figure out the year. It was 1983. The suspect is Keiji Maebawa, aged... The suspect called over his 2 female classmates, went in with Gun, Miya, and Sonozaki to his house and beat them to death with a metal bat. The scene of the crime was the suspect's room on the 2nd floor of his house. The inside of his room was covered with a significant quantity of splattered blood. There were signs of a struggle with the victims. In addition to the scene of the crime, the entryway, living room, and kitchen all had traces of a struggle. At the entryway, the shoe rack and wall had evidence of being impacted by a strong blunt force. It is believed to have been the same bat as the murder weapon. Having no traces of blood, it is believed the destruction occurred before the murders. There is the possibility that the suspect overpowered his victims to keep them from fleeing. In the living room, the rug had been pulled back, then thrown aside. It is hard to believe that this had a connection to a struggle with the victims, and thus the reason for this remains unknown. In the kitchen, the garbage bag was torn apart and its contents were spread out on the floor. Garbage was strewn about in the surrounding area, and handboots believed to belong to the suspect were discovered. It is believed that the suspect had, for some reason, taken out the garbage and struck it with his fist. The reason for this remains unknown. In addition, there was a note stuck to the fridge. The words, "Was there a needle?" were written on it. The meaning behind this remains unclear. Oh my god. I knew this was going to happen. All of this was setting up to be like a mystery. Like a murder mystery. Oh my god. Just in case, the garbage was searched, but a needle was not discovered. Though the garage door was functional, it had been left open ever since the suspect moved in. The garage door was found closed. The suspect's fingerprints were discovered on the garage door. The reason behind this remains unknown. The suspect fled the scene of the crime. However, a patrolling officer, Himazawa, local PD, found the suspect collapsed inside a phone booth. At the time of discovery, the suspect was unconscious in critical condition. He was rushed to the local hospital for treatment, but did not regain consciousness and died 24 hours later. The results of the autopsy indicate the immediate cause of death to have been hypothalamic shock. It was determined that the suspect had clawed at his own throat with his fingernails, and the resulting bleeding caused his death. With the similarity to the death of Tomoniki-san the prior week, the police believe there to be a connection and have opened an investigation. However, due to the wishes of the local authorities, it will be a confidential investigation. Due to the abnormal nature of the death, it was suspected that drugs were involved. But as with Tomoniki-san, no traces were discovered. What prompted all this remains inexplicable. As such, this case is being treated as an act committed on impulse. However, with several accounts of the suspect's bizarre behavior leading up to the incidents, it is possible that this was premeditated. Separated from his group of friends, isolation, inexplicable behavior. Several days before the incident, the suspect began carrying around a metal bat. The suspect was observed displaying aggressive behavior, as well as talking to himself at school. His classmates have actually heard portions of what he was saying. 2 days before the incident, the suspect declared to his parents the possibility of his death. Due to these circumstances, the police have begun an investigation on the possibility that this crime was not committed on impulse, but was instead planned several days in advance. Afterwards, a note was found in the suspect's room that he had written himself. The note was written on 2 sheets from a B5 college ruled notebook that had each been torn in half, and as if trying to conceal it, it was stuck hidden behind a clock on the wall. The contents are as written in the appendix. The police believe it to be strongly related to the incident. The police changed their line of investigation based on the possibility that the suspect was involved in some sort of incident himself. However, no further clues were found, casting doubt on the credibility of the note. Was the crime impulsive or premeditated? With the situation unclear and no further developments, the case has been labeled as unresolved. However, the following year, suspicions arose regarding the nature of the note. The note was not written on 2 halves of B5 paper from 2 separate sheets, but it was originally a single sheet of B5 paper. In order to erase several lines from the middle, someone had torn them out. Judging from the size of the letters, the missing section is estimated to be 2 to 3 lines. It is highly probable that the person who eliminated the lines in question is not the suspect. In addition, judging from traces of large quantities of cellophane tape being stuck to the back of the clock, speculation that something other than the note was stuck there has arisen. The person who first discovered the crime was a detective rumored to have a connection with the incident, Kurado Oshi. He underwent voluntary questioning, but denies involvement in any damages to the note. So, what was whipped out? The suspect's note. I, Kechi Maibawa, am in fear for my wife. I do not know why they are after my wife. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with the Oshiwo-sama's curse. Lena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white fan. This is all on the first sheet. The section below this has been whipped out. This is from the second sheet. The section above this has been whipped out. I have no idea why it has become like this. If you are reading this, then I am probably already dead. Though you may or may not find my body. You who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. Kechi Maibawa. Crap, it's been such a while since the note. So, that's the end of chapter 1? A new scenario has been unlocked. All East review sessions become available to play. Select extra in the title menu and then... Well, that sounds interesting. So that was the first chapter. Let's check out the extra thing real quick before I, give my, final thoughts on the first chapter of this. All cast review session. What is this?
Hi. Higurashi no Nakukara ni Sui. Onikakushi o play sareta minasan.
Okay.
Otsukaresama deshita.
Okay, that's what it means. Okay. So, a little exit the menu. Okay, cool. Alright, so, a credit scene, pretty much. Okay. So, let's give my final thoughts on this. This won't be the end of the video, just a little intermission. First chapter. First, initial thoughts. Holy shit. This is a fantastic first chapter. This feels like an entire, this could have been an entire game. Just in the first chapter. This is the first chapter of the story. And I am so engaged with this. This has been so engaging. And okay, the mystery aspect. I love myself some mysteries. This is a great fucking mystery because there's many angles I could look at this mystery. It feels like I don't have all the pieces of the puzzle right now. I don't feel like I have everything because there's way more since I know there's 8 chapters. But the whole thing, like, I feel like the whole thing is going to be, is it supernatural or is it like actual people? Of like me, and the tips too also it helped, but it also confused me even more, especially with the last 2, with the one with Lena and me on laughing about how Oshi-san goes to the people before they like die, which is weird, which is like that adds another like fucking monkey wrench into like my theory. But overall, right now I need to know more. I need, like, before, when I first began to this Let's Play, I was thinking I would do, like, each chapter, like, individually, and then, like, move on to something else, to, like, do it. But now, I feel like I have to play all of these, like, in just one go. Just one go. No breaks. Just keep going. Don't, like, move on to a different game, then come back to it. Because I feel like if I do that, I'm going to forget information and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to split this up. This is all going to be one gigantic Let's Play. It's probably going to be, like, my longest yet, since it's 8 separate games. And if each chapter has 12 chapters, actually, then this is going to be a long one. But god damn, is it good. It is so good. It's so great. I like the sprites, too. They're great, but, that's helped by the 07 mod that I installed, which helps a lot with the voice acting, lip syncing, and just adds the overall experience as well. But, yeah, and also, the horror aspect. I haven't even mentioned horror aspect. God damn, does this game unnerve me. It gets under your skin. This game gets under my skin. It really does. Like, I don't know. It's that I don't know how to describe it, but it just gets under your skin. Like, just that uneasy feeling of like something's off about this village. Just like something's off, but you don't know what. So, yeah. Let's head on over to chapter 2. All right, here we are, chapter 2. New menu, same thing as always. Let's get right into it. I don't know where this is going to go, since Kechi's dead. So maybe we're going to be a new kid. Oh. One Higurashi, the most possibilities. Common drifting chapter. How was your taste of life in Himizawa? A curse or a conspiracy? I believe you have fully enjoyed everything, and everyone seeming suspicious. Here at last, it is no surprise attack, but a real, direct incident. Please enjoy it. The difficulty is lower than Onikagishi, but extremely vicious. Okay, no baby laughing, okay? Alright, here we go. I will not quench your thirst, for you seek the truth and could not accept that. I will not quench your thirst, for the truth you desire does not exist. But I still want to quench your thirst, for I am the one who cast you into the desert. For the bank still. This is a work of fiction, blah blah blah. AD 1983, the early summer of the 58th year of the Showa era. So this is 83. Okay. So who are we going to be playing as? The chirping of the birds served as my alarm clock. Huh? Wasn't today Sunday? Wasn't it basically my style to stay up late on Saturday and sleep through the morning on Sunday? Why was I waking up at this disgustingly wholesome hour? Back to sleep, back to sleep. Okay. Seems like we're playing as Kenshi, who isn't dead yet. Yep, we're not dead yet.
電話よ。
At that moment, the sound of my mother calling me from downstairs finally registered. Phone call? I sprang up out of bed abruptly and stampeded noisily down the stairs. He's awake. I'll put him on right now, my mother informed the person on the other end of the line.
もしもし。
Should I turn down the voice? Think I should. Didn't transfer all of my things from before. Let's turn it down a little bit. Yeah, just the same thing. Right there.
俺。
There we go, much better.
どちら様？
Oh, hey, it's Rana.
おはようケイチくん。骨坊さんだね。
レナか。こんな朝っぱらから何の用だよ。
Everything's fine in this timeline. Nobody's getting killed. Not yet, anyway.
朝っぱらってことはないと思うな。もうお昼だよ。
It was 11 o'clock. I guess you could loosely consider that the middle of the day.
で、なんか用か？
ちょっと待ってね。今みーちゃんに変わるよ。
グッモーニングケイちゃん。日本語で言うならおはようケイちゃんってとこかな。
ついでに中国語とドイツ語とロシア語でも言ってみろ。
ニーハオケイちゃん。グーテンモルゲンケイちゃん。ロシア語？ダズビダーニャ。知るわけないでしょ。
That's for done, yeah. I don't know how to say it either.
まあいいや。バカな話してたら目が覚めた。
そりゃ結構なことで。でさ、ケイちゃん今日暇？ケイちゃんが大丈夫なら全員揃うんだけどな。
Everybody? Did she mean all the club members?
そうだよ。まあ普段の激戦を思えば休日くらいのどかになんて思ってるかもしれないけど、そりゃ甘いよケイちゃん。
へいへい。あらゆる環境に対応して最善手を模索するのが我が部の趣旨だもんな。つまり休日だろうとお構いなしってわけだ。
おお、ケイちゃんも我が部のことが分かってきたね。でどう？これさ。
No. I had absolutely nothing planned that day. If I were to refuse Club President Mion's invitation, what other fun ways to pass the time would I have? What? Shit, it's 1983, never mind.
別に予定なんかねえし。嫌だって言ったら不先輩扱いでどんな罰ゲームを課せられるやら。
そこまで分かってるなら断れないよね。
Yeah, it's like you're gonna like cook me some like fucking mochi cakes and like you're gonna put a needle in them.
もし OK ならいつもの待ち合わせ場所に1時集合。街へ行くから自転車で来てね。
Club activities in town. Well, we could do them anywhere. Besides, since it was a new venue, there was no way this wasn't going to be intense.
私、おとといの赤杯かなり根に持ってるからね。
A couple of days ago.
今日ははっきり言って負けないよ。
A couple of days ago was Friday's club's that take release. That was uncompromising poker match. Oh, okay, so a couple of days later. Okay. It was a fight to the death. Nobody held back. Nobody could tell who was in the lead or who was last until all the points were tallied. In the end, I won by only one chip. Leon came in second. Damn it! To think if I hadn't squandered that one chip. Mion lamented thus, perhaps more so than the fact she lost the match. Mion doesn't lose. That's why Mion only whined when she let the champion's phone slip through her fingers. And that's why she was more frustrated than anybody over a close loss. So, did she mean for today to be a grudge match?
上等だ。おととい同様、一気に畳んで罰ゲームさせてやるぜ。せいぜい自分がやらされても辛くない内容にしとくんだな。
You know, this is nice. Go back to slice of life with the irking, uneasiness of, everything's still happening,
そうこなくっちゃ。
Or maybe this is just a good timeline where there's no murders at all. Doubt that.
違いがないもんね。
After that, we exchanged jeers for a bit before hanging up on the phone. As I headed back upstairs hastily to get to the key to my bike, I bumped into my mother as she was carrying a futon down.
あらケイチ、上機嫌みたいね。お出かけ？
そんなとこ。俺 みんなと街に遊びに行ってくるから。
行ってらっしゃい。車に気をつけるのよ。夕飯までには帰ってくるのよ。
Don't get hit by a van.
へいへい、ちゃんと帰ってくるって。
Alright, into town we go. After unlocking the chain for my bike in the garage, I re-leveled a bit and the resistance the sideways stiff pedal gave as I push on it. Alright, let's go. Set off on my bike, cutting through the refreshing morning air.
ケイチくん、遅いよ遅いよ。
ああ、待たせたな。あれ、貞子とリカちゃんは？
あの二人はここで待ち合わせるより直接街で合流した方が早いよ。
Oh, I see. If I remember correctly, Sadako and Rika-chan's houses were on the other side past the school.
そうそう。街で部活ってどういうことだよ。
We gotta need a change of scenery, Kechi. Come on. Can't use the same backgrounds.
まさかみんなで覆面をして日が暮れるまでにいくつ銀行が襲えるかっていうのじゃねえだろうな。
別にそれでもいいけど、それでも私は負けないけどね。
みーちゃんってね、なぜか現金輸送車の順路とか時間とかをいつもレナに教えてくれるんだよ。
Fantastic.
なんでだろうね、なんでだろうね。
What? Spun around with a serious look on my face and looked at Mion. Well, it certainly seemed possible that Mion was capable of doing that.
マジかよ、ミオン。
レーナー、まだ何言ってんの。
みーちゃんごめんね、みーちゃんごめんね。
Two of them joked around. That bright laughter was the best match for a beautiful day like today.
おい、二人とも。
Tip of my throat.
貞子とリカちゃんが先に待ってるんだろ。じゃれてないで早く行こうぜ。
Round and around, fooling about like two fluttering butterflies. I honestly wish I could just keep watching them like this. But the five of us together would be absolutely more fun.
そうだね。じゃあ行こっか。
Ugh. Sorry, my throat today. Oh.
目標は10億強奪。山分けしたらみんなで高飛びだぜ。
Let's go rob the convenience store. The three of us on our bikes headed over the gently sloping hill towards town. Instead of going hard, we crested the hill. The view expanded as Okayama Station came into sight. I occasionally come to the station here. Considering the amount of effort it takes to get here, though, it was quite a hassle. That's why I didn't know much about the area around the station, or Okayama itself for that matter. The street we were headed down today was, of course, unfamiliar to me as well. Going through the railway crossing, we headed past the south end of the station.
こっち側は来るの初めてだな。
こっちにはね、ゲームセンターとかおもちゃ屋さんとかがいろいろあるの。
Hell yeah.
みーちゃんが詳しいよ。
ゲーセンもあるのか。俺前は結構通ってたからな。ゲーマーの血がうずくぜ。
Yes! Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to take a screenshot of that line. My gamer's blood!
ゲーセン通いなんてケイちゃん不良だね。今度来た時に案内してあげるよ。結構台数を揃えたいい店があるから。
It seemed like the town of Okayama was Mion's stopping grounds. If I asked her, she could tell me a lot of things about it. Eventually, we came across a store with quite a few bikes parked in front of it. Was this the arcade? No, it was a smaller shop. Looking at the window display, it seemed like your everyday toy shop. But for almost 10 kids to be found in and out of the store, they were doing almost too well for themselves.
ひょっとしてあの店で今日何かイベントでもあるのか？
その通り。優勝賞金は5万円。
Shit.
5万円？なんだよそれ。ケイチ王国の5年分の GNP に匹敵するぞ。
Damn, that's good. Two cute figures messing about the front of the store noticed us and waved their hands.
皆様方、お待ちしてましたよ。 おはようございますなのです。
おはようリカちゃん。さとこ、警察が来る前にケリをつけるぞ。目標は10億強奪だ。
圭一さんの話がわかりませんわ。遅くなったかな。リカちゃんたちは今来たの？今日は早く終わったのでだいぶ待ってましたですよ。
そりゃあ悪いことしたわ。こっちはケイちゃんがなかなか来なくてさ。
圭一では仕方ありませんですよ。
Come on, guys. Saying that, Wika-chan stretched up and began patting Mion's head. Hey, wait a minute. Are you solving everything by making me the bad guy?
もちろん。圭一さんでなくては務まらない大役でしたよ。
Just because I'm the opposite sex doesn't mean you can bully me.
実に嫌な大役だな。こんなので丸く収まると思ったら大間違いだぞ。
I was feeling slightly irritated, so I began to repeatedly smack Sadako in the head. Smack, 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 smack.
圭一さんがぶった圭一にいじめられてかわいそかわいそですよ。さとこちゃん泣いてる泣いてる。
Here we go
お
again.
持ち帰り。悪い人はレナお姉ちゃんがやっつけてあげるからね。
Is this why people watch slice of life anime? God damn it, this is just watching a slice of life anime. Fuck. Wham! Mona statically wiped the tears, which were probably fake, from Sadako's face while Wika-chan gently patted mine as I lay sprawled on the ground, dead. Yes, this is fine.
やっぱりこれが正しい丸い収め方だよな。
Violence is always the answer.
前歯が欠ける前に新しいオチを探した方がいいと思うけどね。
Well then, upsy daisy. In any case, the greeting for today went well. Inside the toy shop, there were about 10 boys around the same age as me. Apparently, they all knew Mion, and finding out that she had arrived, they greeted her with jeers at a few at a time.
みーちゃんはこのおもちゃ屋さんの常連なの。だから友達もすっごく多いの。
おもちゃ屋の常連って何なんだ？
ほら、ケイチさん、奥をご覧なさいませ。
Following Sadako's prompting, I took a look. Her chairs lined up the tables, almost like some sort of birthday party. We realized it immediately.
まさかこれって部活の会場なのか？
Hell yeah, gaming in a toy store.
驚いたかい、ケイちゃん。私この店のおじさんと仲良しでね。たまに客寄せイベントってことでゲーム大会を開かせてもらってるんだよ。
Expand his customer base. I see. Meaning all the boys living up this place were participants?
そうなの。いつもは5人だけど、今日はもっともっと大勢での部活なんだよ。
The hell are you gonna play? When I was innocently happy about being able to play with so many people, but my expression grew noticeably stern.
ケイチさんの考えてること、手に取るように分かりましたよ。
ほう。じゃあ試しに行ってみようか。言うぞ。せーの。
These are all enemies. Sadako's voice and mine blended together in harmony. She was the deeper one. We looked over at the participants. After all, the top prize was 50,000 yen. My eyes lit up like a flame.
ね、ケイちゃん。今日は楽しめそうでしょ。
まあな。ライバルが何人増えようが狙うものに変わりはないさ。
Get that money.
ライバル？はあ、ケイちゃん。クジラが水を飲むとき、今飲んだ水の中に何匹シラスが混じっていたか、いちいち数えてると思う？
She said that in an unpleasant voice, laughing with the aggressive glint in her eyes, reserved solely for club activities. Damn it, Neon. She's as serious as she can get today.
本気なのは私だけじゃないよ。ほら、リカちゃんを見てごらんよ。
Neon pointed. Looking at where her figure directed me.
なんだありゃ。
Mika-chan was using those kinds of traits to soften up the group with an almost expressive pleasantness.
僕も頑張るのですよ。ファイト、オーなのです。ファイト、
Completely emasculated, the group joined Wika-chan in a cheer. The inside of the store had been consumed by the world of Wika-chan. Damn, she's already chomping at the bit.
今日は楽しくなりそうだね。頑張るよ。はう。
It seemed that Rena was also unusually fired up by the large crowd. Hopping about and running around, she had entered entirely into cute mode. In Rena's case, the real fun starts when her tension gauged fills up. Her happy-go-lucky attitude behind bellied the fact that this was the state in which she was the most threatening. Neon was making small talk with some of the regular customers she was acquainted with. It was like business as usual with her. Of course, if anybody thought that Neon looked ordinary, they were not qualified to be in the club. The shadow behind beneath her feet were serenading killer instinct, rising up like a chill wind.
ミオンめ、恥も外分も捨てるくらいに本気だな。
ケイチさん知らないんですの？賞金の5万円、ミオンさんの自腹でしたよ。
Shit. What? She was putting out the 50,000 yen all by herself? At that moment, a dark miasma that worked beyond surroundings began to appear.
ん？何？ケイちゃん。私の顔に何かついてる
Yeah, shiver crept up my spine. That Mion cornering herself like that. She was pulling out the demon working within her. Fine with me. Damn it, my knees are shaking like crazy. Fuck! Before I realized that the store had filled up with even more people. However, the looks in their eyes weren't confidential. They were looks of expectation and curiosity. They were the eyes of onlookers who were wondering what kind of match was going to occur and who was going to win.
最高の舞台じゃないか。面白くなってきやがったぜ。
On the world stage.
ケイチ君、頑張ろうね。頑張ろうね。はう。
Rena was already fully charged. Mortal walls and common sense held no power before the might of Rena in her cute mode. They definitely didn't want to fight her, if possible.
リカちゃん、頑張れ！僕たちも応援してるよ！
はい、頑張りますですよ。
Mika-chan, who was exuding way too much charm no matter how you looked at it, had already won over most of the onlookers to her side. Nonchalantly avoiding things had always been Mika-chan's creed, but for her to be blatantly weighing out her machinations like this, something was definitely strange. Like Rena, she was somebody who I didn't want to fight if I could help it.
もちろん一番戦いたくないのはミオンさんですけどね。
何度か部活で奴と視線をくぐったが、今日ほどヤバいと思う日はないぜ。
ミオンさん、一昨日のポーカーで負けたの相当根に持ってるみたいでしたよ。
らしいな。つまり今日はミオンの復讐のための特設舞台ってわけだ。
Almost as though she was psychic, Mion turned towards us. Her eyes silently conveyed the message. You guys just figured that out now? It wasn't just Mion. Both Rena and Mika-chan were more pumped up than they ever been. Yeah, one's gonna pop up today. Without a doubt, there will be casualties.
私とケイチさんがなんとなく置いてきぼりですわね。いかがでございましょう。なんでしたらスマートに初戦をお手合わせ願えませんかしら。
そうしよっか。 俺もエンジンがかかるまで鳴らしをし。
My spinal column shuddered as had it been struck by a bolt of lightning, and like a pillar of ice was being jammed into it and began to freeze. I could almost see the flames black lighting Sadako with their intensity. Even then, while Sadako was displaying a normal smile, it was cold and inhuman, almost as if it were a plastic mask.
そんなに俺を初戦で消したいかよ。殺気が隠せてないぜ。
あら残念ですわね。圭一さんにしてはなかなか慎重でしたよ。
Without a doubt, it was a trap. I don't know what she had up her sleeve, but if I fought with Sadako during the opening round, my loss would be more soon than if I went against Mion. The pitch black miasma irritated the inside of the store. Did they all want to win that 50,000 yen prize that much? No, that's not right. It won only once competing for the prize money were the casual participants. I was different. I had mistaken this as just a way to fool around on a normal Sunday. It didn't matter when it was, or where it was, or who our opponents were. In our club, the goal is always the very top of the mountain. An intense flame that no strong winds could extinguish, hot enough to melt any steel, began to burn inside me. The fuse had been lit on this unprecedentedly intense club battle. It was then that the owner of the store told me on an electric-dazzled voice that it was about time to begin.
みんないいかな。慶長慶長。
Leon began with the formalities, standing in for the owner and explaining the rules of today's tournament. You're only playing to win. There is no second or third place. That's the same rule as our club. There were 50 people participating. We were able to split up into 5 groups by a draw, and each group would have one winner. Each winner in the first stage would advance to the next in order to compete in the final.
さて、各卓の競技方法なんだけど、これは各卓で好きに決めていいよ。このお店にあるゲームなら何を使っても OK。
Already in Club Mode DEFCON 1, that's good. I didn't let the small gap in the rules go unnoticed.
ミオン、質問いいか。みんな自分の得意ゲームを主張して決まらないんじゃねえのか。
How about we play Whisk?
はあ、そうだね。決まらないと始められないね。
The spectators also nodded along. It was only natural. There wasn't anybody who would simply accede to their opponent's suggestion.
紳士的に決めてほしいけど、そういう時は店のマスターが決めるってのでいい？
It was an event at a toy store after all. You'd expect the owner to referee. After that, Mion's one down continued, and ended with the rule that any losing participants would have to buy the game they lost at, whether Knight's proposition from the store. First, we used a draw to split into 5 groups. Everybody lined up single file and began to draw tickets that the shop owner had prepared. It was my turn. Alright, time to draw. No matter who I was up against, I'd crush him. At that moment, Mion began to laugh with a hawkish gleam in her eye.
当然わかってると思うけど、部活メンバーには一般参加者とは別に罰ゲームがつくからね。
そんなことだろうと思ったぜ。内容は何だ？
勝者が敗者一人一人に1個命令。
Contrary to how simple it sounded, it was a terrifying eventuality, the subject of which no one could predict. Damn you, Mion. Was she really planning on parading me around Himizawa in cat ears and a banana hammock with a tail attached or something? The look on Mion's face told me she wasn't going to let me off that easy. On top of that, this time, it wasn't just the person who finished last who would have to submit to the penalty game.
敗者一人一人に命令。つまりビリでなくても罰ゲームってことだな。
Damn.
そういうこと。
勝者がない場合は部活メンバーが全員途中で脱落したらお流れか？
ケイちゃん、脳みそは元気？
何？
The look in Mion's eyes became that of an lion baring its fangs.
我が部の再生が どう間違ったらこんなひよこども相手に負けるっての？ケイちゃん、初戦で消えて私に恥かかさないでよ。
Even so, I didn't feel threatened. The more into it my opponent was, the stronger it would come.
見てろ。ただミオンにいじめられてたわけじゃないってことを見せてやるぜ。
会おうね。決勝で。
The results of the draw were enough to make you quite a conspiracy. Also, tournament arc, always gotta have one. No matter what anime, there's always gotta be a tournament arc. All the members of the club were nicely divvied up amongst the 5 tables. How did this happen when the draw was that random? The thought that I was already caught in Neon's puppet strings made me feel uneasy. That was fine though. I'll crush all your petty tricks. Now, where were my opponents? Everybody was headed to the table corresponding to the number in the ticket. Competition at my table was these 2. Huh. They look younger than me. Like, huh?
あれ、お前ら学校のクラスメイトだよな。
あ、どうも。富田です。
Honda.
彼は岡村です。
Oka. Sorry for the pronunciations. Okama-kun greeted me by nodding his head. So my opening round was to be against my juniors from school. Just saying, but it seemed like a pretty easy matchup. Lucky. Time to destroy them without mercy.
じゃあみんな、それぞれに対戦ゲームを決めて始めてちょうだい。
Alright, let's get doing it. With Mion's declaration, the inside of the store suddenly became lively. Everybody was yelling their favorite games at each other, trying to gain an advantage before they started. Even my 2 classmates, who seemed turn at first glance, began to fiercely insist on their own games as soon as the signal was given. Of course, I would kick those suggestions aside. There was absolutely no reason to pick a game your opponent was good at.
悪いな。どれも知らないゲームなんだ。もっと知名度の高いやつにしてくれ。
Of course, they didn't agree to the games I suggested either. I could only smirk bitterly. Naturally, after 5 minutes, his table still couldn't agree on a game. Obeying the rules, we asked the store owner to decide on the game. Clearing his throat, the shop owner being brought over a board game from the back of the store. It was a game called Billionaire. Quite a vintage we have here. Come to think of it, if you lose, you have to buy this game. That damn shop owner. Was he using this competition to get rid of all the games he couldn't sell? Damn. What a son of a bitch, but goddamn is he good at business.
これなら俺も知ってるよ。2人も知ってるよな。ルーレットを回してゴールを目指す。最後に清算して一番お金を持ってるやつが勝ちだ。
The two nodded in agreement, and finally the game was underway. At that time, I had already had a feeling of impending crisis. I wouldn't realize why until the game progressed a bit.
1、2、3、4出産祝いをもらう。全員から$5000もらう。悪いね。
Okay, about a bit of a read.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8っと。ボーナス。銀行から$100,000もらう。
Goddamn. What? Tables return in an instant?
1、2、3。出世コースに進む。
Whoa, that's a good route. Seemed like my only piece was running on the steady spaces. I had doubts as to why Neon didn't bring out board games for club activities, but that reason was way bare to me before my eyes. That's right. I had only realized it now. This game was completely based on luck. What could I possibly do to make sure I ended up in first place at the end? The ultimate outcome of this game was decided at a place beyond human hands. How were the other club members doing? My eyes naturally wandered off to the other tables. Mion's table was... What? They weren't doing anything? Have they still not decided on a game? This naive idea existed to distract me from the most frightening possibility. Mion was rogering about, leisurely holding some juice she brought from the vending machine outside in one hand. When our eyes met, she gave me a look of ease. It couldn't be. She already finished? What game was it? Easily? It was probably too late to be concerned with that at this point. Only 5 minutes since we started, her two opponents were already beyond course. They were sitting there, swamped over in disappointment, muttering to themselves, trying to figure out where they went wrong. For that, they find no answer. Was there any reason for the defeat other than they sat at the same table as Beyond? Then, what about Wena's table? Spectators were causing quite a commotion. Looked like their game was Kakuda. The shop owner was apparently the one leading out the cards. Wena attended to drawing long and spaced out a while. Wouldn't she have a hard time with this game?
じゃあ読みますよ。犬も歩けばくたびれる。
At the same instant, the shop owner began sending out the words. The card in question disappeared off the face of the table. No, the face of the earth! Impossible! Where'd it go? It was against Wena's cheek. She was rubbing it there. Ow. Looking at the card Wena was rubbing against her cheek, it was some anime-themed version of Kawuna with rather cute moe illustrations decorating the cards. Basically, it was a picture of a pretty dog girl with a slightly large chest, panting and half in tears as she was being pulled along on a chain. With those types of pictures, even I could play with godlike speak. Of all people to play that game, it had to be Wena. It was entirely possible that her fingertips were on the verge of breaking the sound barrier.
決まったね。
Mion smiled coolly, saying no further reason to keep watching, and she turned back.
かわいいかわいい。レナ、勝ってもこのカルタちゃんと買うよ。お持ち帰り。はう。
After that, the second the card turned, beam wheel, BAM! BAM! Such decisive sounds echoed. Well then, how about Sadako? Oh, she was playing rather orthodox game. Concentration. Judging from the distracted work on Sadako's face, it seemed that she was struggling somehow. One of the main characteristics of concentration is that the pace of the game speeds up as it goes on. As the number of cards to memorize decreases, it becomes easier to match several pairs in a row. It wouldn't be exaggeration to say that the first person to take over before the match can win away as a winner. The cards still in play had to decrease. If you had memorized the cards that had been turned over before, you should have a good chance to sweep the table at this point. Sadako probably knew the positions of all the remaining cards. However, her turn came a little too late. If her opponent followed up, the match would be decided.
北条、悪いけど、僕も優勝賞金を狙ってるんだ。悪く思うなよ。
This guy, did he have the locations of the remaining cards memorized? He was completely certain of his victory. The tension on his face relaxed.
決まったな。
I whispered that in a bored manner as I turned my attention back to my own game. I spun the wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
そんな。確かにここはハートのエース。
There was a commotion at Sadako's table as the shadow rang out. The other two at my table turned around in surprise. I didn't. After all, there really wasn't anything to be surprised about. The onlookers were confounded, most of them certain that the Ace of Hearts should have been there. There's no way. I must be seeing things. It must have been because I was excited. So assured on his victory that the stress over his defeat ran deep. That's how it is. If his opponents wasn't Sadako, then the Ace of Hearts certainly would have been there. What a fool. When you're up against Sadako, you can't let your guard down for a moment until the battle is over.
あら、ケイチさんの勝負はまだつきませんの？センスないですわね。
With a refined tone of voice reserved for only winners, Sadako called out to me. For the casual observer, it must have looked like she only caved out of victory. From my point of view, however, she was only playing around. Roles of winner and loser had already been decided. There was nothing more than child's play. The laughable part about it was that her opponent didn't know his will had already been assigned.
やるじゃねえか。ハートのエースなんておしゃれな罠をかけやがって。
相手を仕留める罠はほんのちょっぴり。それも一個で十分ですのよ。
Sadako was a trapper. Her true talent was never having one misfire. Setting off only one trap was more than enough. Ain't that cool? fact that the other club members were winning one after another with their own brand of play only adds to my impatience and my own lack of progress. Alright, how was Wika-chan doing? How was our club Sly Little Fox doing? What the heck is that? Over in that corner, the mood at that table was decidedly different from the others. The game at Wika-chan's table was, you know, that battery-powered fishing game. The one where the fish opened and closed their mouths as they rotated on the platform and you used a magnetic fishing rod to pick them up, that old thing. It seemed they planned on competing by seeing who could catch the most fish, but it had become an atmosphere you could hardly call competitive.
わあ、釣れましたですよ。うまいうまい。リカちゃんうまいよ。おっとっと、また釣られちゃったよ。
I wouldn't call those. You know, whatever.
リカちゃんはうまいな。
I knew that Wika-chan had already charmed her opponents, along with the onlookers, before the matches had even begun, but Bunway played. That quarter had become an informal meeting of the Wika Food Fan Club.
リカちゃんの圧勝だよ。
Yeah.
圧勝だよ。リカちゃん、お魚釣りうまいんだね。
Wika-chan is indeed a fisherwoman.
リカちゃんが釣ってるのは多分魚じゃないと思うな。
Hearing that, she glanced over at my way briefly. This is my way being serious. That's what I heard.
リカにしかできない、リカだから許される大技ですわね。
Yeah, masterful technique.
前原さんの番ですよ。
ああ、すまんすまん。俺の番か。1、2、脱税の追徴課税。
Fuck! Thought they'd never find that.
5万ドル支払う。
In contrast, my game, what an unseemly situation this was. Noticing the uneasiness creeping across my face, my companions came to see how I was doing.
あれ、ケイチ君、ひょっとして苦戦かな？苦戦かな？
There's no skill to this game, damn it, it's all luck.
岡村、あなた今いくらぐらい持ってますですの？
Okuma, who had won lots of money out of the weak course, began to count through a stack of white of $10,000 bills. $100,000.
98万ちょいくらいかな。富田はどれくらいお金持ちですか？
僕は88万ドル。まだまだ逆転できる位置だね。
Those two looked like they would easily surpass $1 million, and all I had was $5. And like,
で、
Burger
ケイ
King
ちゃんはいくら
coupon.
持ってんの？
Mion's tone of voice was grim from the get-go. It was her disappointment in disgust as club president.
仕方ねえだろ。このゲームルーレット回す以外に何も作戦がないんだぜ。イカサマがあるとしたらなんだよ。2人に目をつぶって100数えてもらってその隙にルーレットに細工でもするのか。そんなのできるわけねえだろ。
Rika-chan gently patted my head. Still, she wasn't too happy.
ブー様ですわね。
Shut up.
一度は好敵手と思ったのに幻滅でしたよ。投げちゃダメだよ、ケイチ君。何か逆転があるはずだよ。頑張ろう。最後まで頑張ろう。
Like I said, how am I supposed to make a comeback with this game relying entirely on luck? Right, Mion? Mion's face, however, was almost unbelievably indifferent, like she was watching something completely unexciting. She then turned her back without saying a word.
おい、ミオ。
It was a pathetic voice that hurt even myself.
失望したよ。
Damn.
みんな本気なのにケイちゃんだけは本気になってくれなかったね。
Damn.
本気ってなんだよ。気合でルーレットの目をコントロールしろってのかよ。そんなのできるかよ。
本気のケイちゃんならそのゲームでも開始10秒で蹴りをつけてたね。
みーちゃん、 そんなに怒ることないよ。待ってよ。
Mion, in a bad mood, cast me aside and disappeared into the depths of the shop. Maybe it was because it had become an awkward situation, but the spectators dispersed from around my table. Damn it! Are you saying I'm not serious about this? Are you saying that if I were serious, I would have settled this game with chance in 10 seconds? If I were serious, everybody was praying for my victory. They believed in me. Did I betray their expectations? Was it because I wasn't serious? Ugh.
ゲーム進めます？
The two of them were timidly trying to resume play. I didn't respond to that. The table sunk into silence.
前原君は投了でいいかな。
The owner, thinking I was forfeiting, started to announce the cancellation of the game. At that moment, the demon inside me let loose a howl. It awakened. I get it now, Leon. What it means for me to be serious. I'll show you! Bam! I clapped my hands on their shoulders, speaking in a low voice after pulling them closer.
富田君、岡村君、取引しよう。俺を勝たせろ。
The two of them, not immediately understanding what I had just said or the meaning behind it, were momentarily confused.
前原さん、暴力はなしですよ。ちゃんとゲームで勝敗を。
話は最後まで聞け。お前らの望みは何だ？優勝して5万円か？
そりゃそうですよ。5万なんて大金、二度とないチャンスですよ。
仮に優勝したとして、お前らその5万で何をする？どんな楽しみ方をする？
Two of them considered it briefly.
新しいゲーム買うとか、お菓子とか、ジュースとか。
How much is 50,000 yen in US dollars? Probably like $500? Maybe? I don't know. Well, this is 1983, so inflation.
小せえ小せえ。バカかお前ら。
じゃあ前原さんが勝ったらどんな楽しみ方があるって言うんですか？
I want to put in a retirement fund.
俺か？そこが本題だ。今から言うことを黙って聞け。
I'll split up the money with them. The club members have a penalty game separate from the casual participants. If we lose, we have to obey a single command from the winner. From another point of view, the winner earns the prize of being able to order the other club members around.
まず富田君、君は里子萌えだよな。
Oh, that's what he's gonna do.
否定すんな。そして岡村君、君は理科萌えだな。赤くなるな。
I drew the two of them, red-faced and conscious of whether anybody else heard what I just said even
美少
closer.
女萌え、男の推薦、男のロマン。例えるなら永遠にたどり着けないエデンの園。だけど目指すんだろ。
What the fuck are these sound effects?
それは俺たちのハートに熱い魂が燃えよと叫ぶからだ。
That sensitive age where you couldn't say you liked the girl you liked. Understanding that gave me all the more power.
俺が優勝したら富田君、里子を一日首輪付きで君の妹にしてあげよう。
Psst, a red fountain spewed from both Tomika-kun's nostrils.
そして
And he
岡
was
村
down
君
on the ground.
君には猫耳リカちゃんに手綱をつけてお散歩させてあげよう。
Psst, blood had whipped from the vein in Okamura-kun's forehead.
そんなことそんな
うろたえるな。お前たちは俺に無理やり付き合わされたことにすればいいんだ。前原先輩のわがままの犠牲者なだけいやいやでいいんだよ。分かってる。お前たちの胸の内は全部分かってる。
Then I suddenly lowered the tone of my voice.
俺は灰色の学校生活を送ってきた。それがどんなにつまらなく人生の大切な時間を浪費したことになるのか身をもって知った。だから後輩のお前たちには そんな時間を過ごしてほしくないんだよ。自分に素直になれ、夢を追え、そして叶えろ。俺が叶えてやる。
It was this moment that the values of men bridge generations. Now this is what I call brotherhood. Did I ever have a mentor who ever spoke my mind for me so strongly? Never! There was no way there was. That's because in a man's lifetime who only have 3 faithful encounters. That valuable first time was being experienced right this moment with these 2. That is what it's like to be a man.
行くぞ。せーの。ゲーム終了。
It was such an assertive declaration of the game's ending that everybody in the store turned and looked. It had been less than 3 minutes since I was on the verge of forfeit, and all the spectators were certain of my loss.
ケイキさん、どうなりましたの？勝敗は？
俺の完全勝利だ。
なんですって？あの状況をどうやってひっくり返しましたの？
過程なんか必要ないよな。男と男の決着だよな。ああ、みんな。
うわ
The 2 of them, stiffing tears of gratitude, answered strongly from the bottom of their hearts. Exactly what kind of miracle occurred here during those 3 minutes? The spectators all looked away from my other disadvantage. The spectators were puzzled at how I was able to so quickly overcome that hopeless situation. That guy, is he able to control the spinner wheel with his eyes or something? It's a miracle. What devil way is this? He's in cahoots with that Mion, you know? There's no doubt he had some strange trick up his sleeve. I looked at the crowd, who couldn't help but be excited. Out of the corner of my eye, now fully awakened and in battle mode, I let out a decisive laugh.
これが俺の本気ってことだよ。ミオ。
遅えっての。
Barring our fangs at each other, we laughed together in a most unsightly fashion.
じゃあこれで部活メンバーが全員1回戦突破ですわね。ということは今度はみんなで対決だね。対決だね。僕はもう賞金で買うものを決めていますです。もちろんですわ。ねえ。
Tadeko and Lena smiled, sneered at each other. These guys. Do they really think they can win against Keiichi Marabawa when he gets serious?
ミオ、失敗だったな。お前はさっき俺に助言すべきじゃなかったぜ。
ひよこが私に勝つなんて100万光年早いって。
ミオ、光年は距離の単位だぞ。
Oh, she's embarrassed. She is embarrassed.
どうするのみーちゃん。5人でどう戦うのかな。
We want to play Whisk.
かな。
さーて。
I've never played Whisk. I want to play Whisk. Seems like a fun game.
これだけ豪華な面々が揃ったんだからね。今日という日を急ぐのが惜しいよ。
ミーの言ってる意味が難しいです。
まさかてめえ。
Is it going to be poker? Mion's hair flew a good way, almost like a cape, as she turned her back to the table.
今日の勝負を部長園崎美音が預からせてもらうよ。勝負方法と日時は未定。ギャラリーは多い方がいいね。ひなみ沢も沖宮も全ての人間の目の前で。これ以上ないくらい徹底的な決着をつけてあげるよ。
逃げる気ですの？ いくらミオさんでも卑怯ですことよ。
ひよこが生かされたことにまだ気づかんか。
The combative ore blowing out of Mion's body formed a barrier, stopping Sadako's advance.
また会いましょう。せいぜい首でも洗っとくことね。
With a sure laugh, Mion left the store. After a moment of silence, the crowd erupted into cheers. When will they resume the contest? Mion's serious. The other members did great too. That new guy, Marabawi's got some strange power. He turned the tables in an instant.
絶対優勝してくださいよ。
おう、ミオンなんざ逆さにしてサンズの川に叩き込んでやるぜ。
The part of the crowd that had apparently overheard the covenant between Tabaka-kun, Okama-kun, and myself erupted into a cheer again. Mion's going to win anyways. She's the undefeated empress. I'm betting on Mion. No, it's going to be Rena with that ungodly speed. Sadako the trap artist. We got the siren. It may be a long shot, but it'll be Marabawa. However, right now, I had no ear for those cheerful voices. Setting the stage for this huge match and then running away like that, I wasn't going to forgive Mion. Outside of the store, Mion was getting on her bike as the shop owner was seeing her off.
逃げるなミオン。部長なら逃げるな。俺と戦え。
あ、ごめんケイちゃん。私これからバイト。
You have a part-time job? Huh? Like you would see in a sketch comedy show, my legs swept in opposite directions until I was doing the splits.
うん。ケイイチくんがゲームしてる間にみーちゃんに電話があったの。残念だね。
せっかく暑くなってきたのについてないよ。おじさんの店でさ、特売にお客が殺到してるらしくてさ、レジが足りないから助けてって電話があったんだよ。
おじさんってなんだ、スーパーの店長でもやってんのか。
ささやかなお店だけどね。でもさ、
Casual mall pasha.
特売やれば主婦が殺到するの常識で読めないのかね。店員足りないのに卵1パックを一人様1点限り10円なんてやるな。
I was a little surprised. You would never think that this was the club president exuding such a dark aura inside the store just a short time ago. It was the usual Mion right now, almost like sad, super movie sorrow. My shoulders slumped. That's right. Club mode was over now. But it was really heated today. It really was fun. Damn Mion, she really knows how to fire people up.
私こそ頭がジンジンしびれるくらい燃え上がったよ。
Swear, you guys can fucking read my mind.
特にケイちゃん怖かった。あの場で本当に噛み殺されるんじゃないかって思ったね。
お仕事だから仕方ないけど、本当に残念だね。この続き本当にやりたいですわね。いつがいいでございましょう。綿流しのお祭りでやるのなんていいですよ。
綿流し祭五強爆闘か。
So, this is before the one at Higurashi, huh? So that means Sonaki-san's still alive. That's where we are in the timeline. Good to know.
そうだね。
Good to know.
考えておくかな。
Right now, what were Rika-chan and Mion talking about? What a Higurashi festival. Kind of drifting fire, damn it, what?
私、週刊漫画みたいないい加減なノリ大好きなんだ。こんな痛快な部活が近いうちにまたできるといいね。
She laughed with a smile that made you feel with flesh just looking at it. At that moment, the shop owner came out carrying a paper bag. I wonder what it is. Is he giving it to us?
今日はみんな本当にありがと
Using drugs.
う。おかげでイベントは大盛り上がりだったよ。大したものじゃないけど、これ今日のおだちんに。
吉郎おじさん、私にはないの？おだちん。
あらあらあら、かわいいのが出てきましたわよ。
When Sadako and Rika-chan opened up the bag, there were cute little stuffed animals inside.
わあ、これかわいい。
Oh boy.
お持ち帰りしていいの？本当に？
ってことは俺のもかな。なんだかやたら可愛いのが出てきたぞ。
It's a little frog. It was a stuffed toy wearing a beautiful dress, one you'd used to play house. When his eyes were grew to my stuffed doll. Sadako was the same, and Rika-chan too?
ケイちゃんには一番似合わないのが出てきちゃったね。
なんつうのか、プリティっていうかキュートっていうか、可愛いのは認めるんだが、着せ替え人形はちょっとな。
ケイちゃんが持ってたら確実に明日からあれな趣味の人扱いだね。
Neon didn't have to go that far. This wasn't something a guy like me should be carrying around. Neon was the only one who hadn't received a present, so I thought about giving it to her. However, after briefly considering, I gave it to him instead.
くれるの？レナに？ありがとう。
God, that is a lot bigger than I expected.
方針のためだよ。
Like, they did say small, but I didn't mean it was just that big.
レナにあげないと夜道が怖い。
違いない違いない。
ミオンにあげようかと思ったけど、ちょっと違うよな。
へへへへ、分かってるじゃない。私さ、どうして男に生まれなかったのかなって思う時あるよ。
女でよかったな。男だったらもうとっくに殺してる。
今のうちに殺しといた方がいいよ。じゃないとケイちゃん死んで後悔することになるから。
Yeah, funny joke. You're gonna murder me in my sleep, aren't you? Mion laughed after saying such an ominous line. Everybody laughed heartily along with
来
her.
世では神様に男にしてもらえるように頼めよ。
Well,
俺も男にしてもらうから。
そしたらケイちゃんと組んで軽く全国制覇から始めようかね。
Mion-chan, if you don't get going soon, shop owner told her meekly. A lot of us looked like we were having a lot of fun, so it must have been hard to put a wet blanket on things.
じゃあね。今日は最高に楽しかった。またねみんな。明日学校で。
バイト遅刻すんなよ。
Everybody waved their hands and watched as Mion left. Before I knew it, the sun was already setting, and the breeze carried a hint of chill.
もうちょっと街で遊んでいく？それとも帰るかな？暗くなると道が怖いですよ。では引き上げ時ですわね。今日は本当にいっぱい騒ぎましたわ。
そうだな。よっしゃ、帰ろうぜ。
The wind blew gently, as if to cool down those of us flushed with enthusiasm. And I think this is a good time to, save. But yeah, this is the beginning of chapter 2, and boy, like, the mystery and the horror aspects of the games is great, but also the slice of life part of it is also fantastic in of itself. You know, like, like, I love this, like, just normal everyday things. I don't know, it's just like it feels like I should be uninterested in this, but I really do love this type of crap, you know, like, it helps us, you know, make deepens character relationships more deeper, and overall, I love this. I really do, and I am so excited that I'm only on chapter 2 of 8. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this content, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. Want to tell me something? Put it down in the comments below. Want to check out the Discord server I hang out in, or my Twitter? Check the description below. Yeah, it's been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!
Have you ever wanted to play? You could